Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. So, if you sat through the last episode, don't worry, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in the therapist today, or at least I hope we won't. If you skipped over the last episode, you know what, I don't blame you. If you're not super interested in the logic behind managing a fort, it's not really all that interesting. So, let's go ahead and move on. Now, the first thing I kind of want to take care of today, it's something that, if you've read any of the comments on some of my past videos, I've been lamenting about a little bit. And that is, our security is absolutely atrocious. If we were to get a forgotten beast on the surface right now, or an invading army, or anything like that, they would basically just walk in and completely and totally wipe us out. There'd be nothing we could do about it. So we're going to go ahead and start by getting that fixed up a little bit here. Now, thankfully, this is something you can get set up pretty early, because you don't need to go out and necessarily kill them. There's a difference between defending yourself against an invading army and repelling an invading army. And for the start of the game, you really want to focus on repelling them. Killing them is something that becomes fun to do later on, but it's really not all that necessary. At least not at the start. There's some sieges you get where, like, they won't go away until you kill them all, but at the very least, we're going to install a simple security device that will ensure that if something goes bad, we can just throw a switch and everything will be okay. And that is going to be a simple bridge, the same way that we set up on the merchant's gates. And it's just going to be a simple bridge that that retracts up this way to the left-hand side, so out towards this way. And it's going to fill the hallway. And we're going to go ahead and just build that out of, say, shale? Sure, we have plenty of shale around. And that will allow our dwarves to have a nice defensive structure right there that we can just throw a switch and that'll close up and everything will be okay. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Now, unfortunately, on this embark, we haven't really found any iron yet. It's all been copper, this malachite rock. Yes, thank you. It's all been this malachite rock, which is not... I mean, copper weapons are not the greatest things in the world, truth be told. But we have plenty of it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't create a military. For your first embark, you kind of want to hope for some iron, because it does make things simpler, but... New baby. Quick, get him a bottle of ale. I am seriously considering turning some of these voice ones off. Anyways, it's not super important because we can still manage it, but it is kind of important. And kind of looking at this, I'm a little upset with myself at the way I designed things here. For this tutorial, I tried doing some different designs just to kind of see if they would work. This one did not. I hate this design right here. This whole 3 workshops surrounding a 5x5 room. That's not working at all. So what I think I'm going to do is actually I'm going to remove these 2 workshops. What do we have the butcher shop, so we're going to remove that one. We're going to remove this one. And we're going to wait for those to get done. Because, yeah, as I said, I don't like the way this has turned out. I didn't think we would need that much storage space, but I kind of forgot how much space we actually need for something like that. And what we're going to do is we're actually just going to move them up here. And then that way we have a much bigger room available, available for storage of food without, and we can just rebuild the butcher and the fishery over here. We'll keep the drink stuff down here, that's fine. But this will just, as I said, it'll give us a lot more room. So we'll let them go ahead and do that. So really, what is our next step? Well, I mean, our workshops are pretty pitiful right now. Oh, this is built, so let's go ahead and actually take care of that first and foremost, just so I don't forget. So we're going to build with the B key, Shift T for trap components, L for lever. We're going to put that right there. We're going to use a shale mechanism to build the lever, and we'll just wait for that to get done. And we need to wait for these guys to finish up as well. Pardon any coughing you might hear in the video. I'm still not 100% well yet. But well enough that I can play some more Dwarf Fortress, so it should be good. Alright, so that's been built. So now we want to just link this up to the bridge as before. We just need to find the right bridge. That's the one right there. A couple of shale mechanisms. And we will be good to go with that. What was oh yeah, this was the pigtail problem. Never did figure out what happened to all my pigtails. What do we have here? Bauxite. Oh, wow, we didn't actually get any decent farming locations. That's a shame. But Then again, we don't really need them right now anyway. Oh wait, we built those. We tried to dig those out a while ago, didn't we? Right. Sorry, I haven't touched this in a while because, as I said, I've been sick, so I'm reintroducing myself a little bit to it here. All right, so we got those cleared away. So let's go ahead and rebuild our butcher shop and our fishery. So we can put the butcher shop right here, and we can put the fishery over here. Now, we want to also extend this stockpile. Well, you can't alter the size of a stockpile after you've created it. So, I mean, really that leaves, well, we would have to go through and kind of like recopy all these settings, which, I mean, granted for food is really not all that difficult. But if you have, say, another stockpile that you want to move or you want to make bigger, that can be a bit of a pain because they can get fairly complex in the way that you set them up. But never fear, there is a DF hack tool that we're going to use to make this a little easier on ourselves. So what we do is we switch over to DF hack real quick as soon as I can find the window. There it is. Nope, that's SoundSense. Where's DF hack? That's still SoundSense. DF hack, there we go. And that's copy stock, all one word. And what that'll do is it will copy the stockpile options of the stockpile you currently have selected. So just to repeat, you select the stockpile by either clicking on it or pressing Q and putting the cursor over it. Then you go into DF hack, copy stock, and that will put you into the stockpile building mode with the custom stockpile settings set to whatever this stockpile was. So that should make things a little easier for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this stockpile and then recreate it in a bigger form, and that will allow us to store much more food in here. Because as I said, we need more food storage. We just didn't have enough there, and I didn't like the design I had gone with there. Was not nearly big enough. All right, so I think the next thing we definitely need to start focusing on is kind of expanding our workshops a little bit, because this is not working as well as I would have otherwise hoped. Well, I mean, it's working, but I mean, we want more. We want more stuff, right? So there's a few different directions we can take our workshop in. Is this set up yet? Nope, not yet. Oh man, pardon me. There we go. So, what we want to really kind of focus on then is either one of two things. We want things that are going to make us money, or things that are going to increase our safety. Now, our safety is more or less taken care of already. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe start focusing on building a military to start getting them trained. Well, we can't, as I said, we can't really do much with copper. And that's kind of where we're going to be focusing on things that make us money for now. Because if we want iron, which we do, because we want to be able to take that iron and then turn it into steel, we're going to need two things, really. We're going to need skilled smiths, because we don't want our smiths practicing on our scarce sources of iron. And we're going to need money or valuable trade goods to buy that iron and steel. So, what we are going to do is we are going to head down to, say, here, and we're going to start mining up all the copper, the malachite, and so that we can start turning that into copper and start training our smiths on how to do their jobs. Now, what you can do is you can, you go into dig and you select this. Oops, not that one. And then you wait for somebody to come down here and dig it all out. And, oh, look, there's more back here, so now we're going to have to go back into dig mode and dig that out. You can do that. Honestly, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. What I prefer to do is there's again, this is DF hack, and again, a lot of things in DF hack, some people will consider cheating, and some people won't. And really, it's up to you to decide, because, I mean, this is a single-player game. You know, nobody's fighting over, Dwarf Fortress high scores, or at least not that I know of. But this is something that I like to use just because I don't want to waste all my time trying to dig out a vein of metal. So what you do is you position your cursor over a vein of metal, and then you press Control and V. Oops. Okay, I don't know why this happens, but every so often, DF hack just seems to stop responding. Best way to fix it, I found, is just open up the DF hack window again, and then go back into the game and try it again. There we go. And by pressing Control V, that has highlighted all of this as, you know, to dig. And that's because this is all copper ore, malachite ore. And we can do the same thing over here. So, I mean, some people consider this cheating because it shows you where all the malachite of that vein is. And that's technically true. But you can't use this command until you know where the start of it is anyway. So you're going to be digging it out anyway, and you're not going to be revealing anything that you wouldn't have revealed yourself in time. This just saves a lot of the busy work of constantly having to go in, redesignate a couple of tiles, wait for them to be dug out, redesignate a couple more, rinse, repeat over and over and over and over again, and it just becomes irritating, especially when you have a vein. Like, this is actually a fairly, about a medium-sized malachite vein. I've seen them much larger. I've seen them just cover like a quarter of the screen of just how large the vein was. And can you imagine having to do that all by hand? Ugh, no thanks. So we're going to let them dig that out. While they do that, we are going to get our metalworking workshop set up. Now, metalworking is one of the more complex aspects of Dwarf Fortress, which is, I mean, is only right because, I mean, we're dwarves, right? Metal is what we do. Metal and precious gems. So, what do we do? Well, the first thing we need is a ore processing room, because what Masterwork allows you to do, and this is strictly Masterwork, this is not something that's in vanilla, is use an ore processing machine, and that will give you pure versions of the ore, which give you more bars of it when you eventually smelt it up. It also gives you some junk stone, but some of that junk stone can be valuable stones like marble and limestone, flux stones that we will eventually use to make steel. So, we are going to start by digging out a room for our ore processing. And we kind of have to decide where that's going to be, because it is going to take up a fair chunk of space. Again, kind of going over this layout again after I've been playing my own forts recently. And kind of looking back at this one, there's a few things I would change. I was kind of trying a couple of things, as well as, you know, making this tutorial series. But I mean, that's kind of the glory of Dwarf Fortress. You try something new, it either works, great, or it doesn't, boo, and you move on. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to build our ore processing room, and the ore processors are 5x3. So we're going to want to go 5 across, 10 across for 2 ore processors. Then we want to put some room in there for a storage area as well. So we're going to go ahead with, let me see. So we have 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't need a ton of room for that because I tend to process the ore as I get it. So, but then we go 1, 2, 3. Just leave some room here. Create a nice doorway. That's the same on both sides, right? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay, that's fine. So that's going to be our ore processing room. Okay, so what do you do with the ore after you process it? Well, after you process it, you have to turn the ore into bars. That requires smelters. So we're going to need a smelting room. That's going to be, the smelters are just simple 3x3 workshops. So we're going to go 3, and then another 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8 over for the first group, and then another 3. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry. For the smelter. So we're going to have 2 rows of smelters going up the left and the right side of the room. And we're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I like to have a lot of smelters because I find I put them to use, and with workflow, you can only have so many jobs on one station, and it kind of helps to be able to split them up a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's going to be our smelting room. All right, so after the bars are created, what do we need to do with them? Well, at that point, the bars are probably going to sit for a while. So you're going to want a pretty decently sized storage room somewhere close by for all of your manufactured bars and whatnot. There's going to be a few different things that you need to store close by for your metal industry to make use of. So you're going to want a fairly large storage room somewhere centralized to all the different rooms that you're going to be using. And again, we can expand on these rooms later. This is, though, for the most part, I tend to not bother unless I'm going for like a super metalworking fort, which, I mean, it can be fun to do, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to stick to simple stuff. So we're going to put our storage room right over here, as that's nice and close to all of our different workshops. And we're just going to go 10 by 10. That should be, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to make that just a tiny bit bigger. We're going to go 5 more deep, and that'll be plenty of space right there. We're going to go ahead and just kind of the same idea over here. Dig out a entryway there. Now that leaves one last thing that we need, and that is the actual forges. The places where we're going to turn the metal bars into metal goods. And it's going to be a fairly similar room to your smelter room. Except you probably aren't going to want any storage in the middle. So I tend to go 1, 2, 3, and then I leave a couple spaces just for aesthetic purposes. You don't technically have to. And then another 1, 2, 3, and then 9 down. And that will be our forges. 1, 2, 3. All right. And just like that. And then we're going to just cut off the rest of this digging because we don't want to have to do more than we need. So let's go ahead and give the dwarves some time to dig all that out. Well, we do. Let's see how things are going with our manager and making those noble bedroom sets. Still in the process of. How is that? Oops, let's come up here. Actually, let's go down, see how they're doing with mining this stuff out. Actually, I'm going to set this stuff to not be mined right now because I want them working upstairs so I can get the metalworking industry on the go. So yeah, work up here first.
Sir, you can't do that there.
Okay, we're out of plump helmet stuff. That's fine. Has this been hooked up yet? Nope. Come on, dude. Get to work on that. What am I paying you for? I'm not paying you? What am I not paying you for? Let's see. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and dig that out. Is there anything else that kind of needs our attention right now? Probably. I'm probably just missing it. We got a lot of remains and stuff out here. Mussel shells and stuff. We can do stuff with them, which is actually maybe something I should focus on, but I would need to actually dig out more space. So I think we'll just wait on them for the time being and set up our metalworking industry first, and then we'll focus on some of the other workshops. The next few episodes are going to be very much about expanding our workshop base because we haven't progressed as fast on that as I would otherwise like. Now, part of the problem with the way I've been doing this tutorial is it means that things are moving slower than what they should normally because I'm, taking the time to explain it all and letting the game run in the background. And that's just kind of a consequence of it being a tutorial video. I've actually decided, just because of how well received this series has been, just something to talk about while I wait for these guys to dig, which they're being incredibly slow at it, by the way. Did I assign the... Actually, that makes me think. Did I assign the wrong people to be mining? Did I screw that up? No, they're fine. It's just taking a long time for them to get through that rock for some reason. Anyways, as I was saying, because of how well received this series has been, once I have a fortress up and running, to the point where I believe it's served as a good tutorial, I'm going to go ahead, restart, and I'm going to play, a fortress proper without necessarily going through and explaining each and every little thing that I'm doing. I'm still going to explain why I'm doing it and the strategy behind it and all that, but I think it would be a good idea to also have another video series up once this one is over. That will just be like, hey, this is me actually playing the game and, succeeding in some ways and failing in others, and eventually I'll get murdered by some mythical horror beast. Oh yeah, that reminds me actually. I wanted to show you guys, since I'm waiting for this to finish, I wanted to show you guys a screenshot I took from one of my other games because it was the most insane forgotten beast I've ever seen. Well, it wasn't technically a forgotten beast, but whatever. It was the most insane thing this game has ever thrown at me, I think. Or at least has thrown at me in the recent times of playing. And I just want to show it to you guys here. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. So I named this picture, Well, We're Boned. And it's basically, I'll read this out, so if you don't want to read it, don't worry about it. The vile plague wraith, Dishin Nukishina... What the hell is that word? Nuke-e... Kinasham, Ashuknira, whatever, has come. Held aloft by two expansive skeletal wings, the massive plague wraith towers over 30 feet tall. Under its tattered cloak, a black mass of writhing insects and serpents cling tightly to a nearly fleshless skeleton. 4 elongated arms covered in a tangle of scorpions and spiders, and in wickedly curved talons that twitch in anticipation of its next victim. Let's get that going again. Practically obscured by the inky shadows cast by its voluminous hood, 2 flaming emerald eyes partially illuminate its malevolent hook-toothed skull. In one massive hand, it hefts a severely curved steel scythe with a twisted ironwood haft. Yeah, that thing was absolutely terrifying. Eventually did get killed. I was lucky in a couple of merchant bands decided to arrive at the same time. And, well, one merchant arrived and had a whole bunch of caravans with him, which meant a lot of guards, and they killed it on the way in, which was nice, but still, slightly terrifying. And man, they're taking a while to dig this out. Ugh, I feel bad. Okay, you know what? We'll come back to the metalworking industry next episode, since I've already wasted like 20 minutes of this one, just waiting for them to dig this out. Let's try to find something else to do in the meantime, which may or may not work. I heard... Okay, so that's all been done. Okay, so I found that there does seem to be a bit of a bug. I don't know if it's a officially reported bug or anything. Just kind of from my own playtesting. That, yeah, Quick Fort and the DF hack planning mode don't really seem to work too well. So for right now, I'm mostly just having to stick with waiting for them to build all the furniture before I do this part. So anyway, we're going to go Alt-Q to, or sorry, Alt-R, then Alt-Q, D-O, oh, nope, not D, what was I thinking? B-O, and then we put this up here, and actually, I loaded the wrong file, now that I think about it. I want bedroom no nobles, build, Alt-R, rotate, start in the top left-hand corner, and it's here, I think? Yeah, and go ahead. And away she goes. Okay, so there's going to be some new bedrooms for our dwarves to live in. So yeah, if you're playing along with me, then I don't know what's causing it. I haven't really looked into it all that much, to be perfectly honest. But it seems just safer to let your dwarves build all of the items first, and then use Quick Fort to plan where they're going to go. Okay, they suspended the construction of this coffer, so we'll let them, we'll highlight it, press S to get them to keep building it. And that is all those bedrooms built. So now we're going to go ahead, open Quick Fort again. We're going to do query. Okay, and then we're going to go Alt-R, rotate, Alt-Q to start in the top left-hand corner, Q. And I believe on this one, it's a little weird. It starts here, I think. Or is it here? Yeah, no, it's definitely here. And that should be all the beds. Taken care of. Yep. All right, perfect. So that's a bunch of new bedrooms for our dwarves. So how many do we have in total right now? We have 10, 20, 21, 22, and we have... How many dwarves? 42. Okay, so we want to maybe get another couple of bedroom halls dug out. But I'm not going to worry about that right now because I want them to finish this first. And they're certainly taking their own sweet freaking time about it. All right, then. You know what, guys? The heck was that? I'm not sure. Whatever. Anyways, you know what, guys? I am going to call it here, though. I will let them finish hollowing this out before I resume the next episode. And then if something exciting happens, I'll just include that in the next episode, but I don't think it will. So I'll let them finish hollowing that out. In the next episode, we're going to be covering how to start our metalworking industry. So guys, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have been enjoying the series so far. If you have any questions for me, please leave them below as a comment. I respond to every single one and give the best advice I can. If I can't give you the answer, I'll tell you where to go to find it. And thank you. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the form of a comment. I will try to answer every single one. If I can't answer you directly, then I will at least point you to where you need to go to find the answer on your own. If you have enjoyed the series and found it helpful, please leave a like. That's extremely helpful to me and extremely encouraging as well. That's been the thing that's just kind of kept me going with this series as hard as I have been, is just seeing how well received it's been so far. is just absolutely amazing to me. So thank you very much for watching, and so long.